You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Trump's white political rival backfires badly. He really thought he cooked here, based on an article by Benito L. Delty. Trump's failed flex reveals a familiar weakness: power without judgment. The swipe. Trump tried to stage a dominance photo on Truth Social. A younger version of himself in a military school uniform beside an 18-year-old Obama with a cigarette and fedora. The move was supposed to humiliate a rival. Instead, critics used it to make Obama look more effortless, more self-possessed, and Trump looked exactly like what he is in moments like this: a man still auditioning for authority he already controls, who actually holds power. This is the part the online spectacle obscures. Trump is not some aggrieved outsider dunking from the margins. He is the figure with institutional reach, the one who can turn personal vanity into a public message. The post matters because he chose to use political power for a petty image fight. That is the decision. Everything else is fallout. The response also exposed the imbalance in the story. Obama, in the image Trump chose, is not the active player. Trump is. He picked the frame, set the terms, and handed critics the opening. The backfire wasn't accidental. The criticism did not land because people became sentimental about Obama. It landed because Trump's own image is easier to attack than he seems to understand. Critics immediately pointed to the gap between the pose and the record: Trump in his 20s facing the Justice Department investigation over discrimination against black renters. Trump as a teenager at military boarding school for behavioral issues and bullying, now repackaged as if that uniform proves discipline or service. That is not random mockery. It is a direct rebuttal to the performance. Trump's political method depends on controlling perception. But here the contrast did the opposite. He supplied the comparison, and the comparison indicted him. The real target wasn't Obama. This kind of post is never just about the person on the other side of the image. It is about laundering status. Trump keeps trying to convert old costumes, staged masculinity, and inherited posture into proof of legitimacy. When that fails, he reaches for humiliation. When that fails too, he falls back on grievance. The article's framing is weak in one obvious way. It treats the exchange like a social media embarrassment when it is really a demonstration of how Trump uses platforms as propaganda for self-mythology. The point was not humor. The point was to assert hierarchy through a cheap visual trick. The pattern beneath the post. What this reveals is a broader political pattern. Trump repeatedly turns politics into cosmetic warfare because substance is where he is most vulnerable. He cannot reliably defend the record, so he attacks appearance. He cannot build legitimacy through competence, so he attempts it through dominance theater. He cannot make himself look rounded, so he tries to make everyone else look smaller. That works only when the audience accepts the frame. Here, it didn't. The result was not just mockery. It was a rare moment when the performance collapsed and the public saw the machinery underneath: a powerful man using public office and public attention to sell an identity that remains thinner than the insults he throws. Systemic error. The deeper issue is not that Trump posted a bad comparison. It is that American politics now tolerates leaders who use institutional visibility as a private ego management system. The damage is not confined to a single failed troll job. It is the normalization of politics where power is spent on image maintenance, blame is assigned downward, and accountability is replaced by spectacle. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Roar Story for today's article. with the automated voice of Razak. Thanks for listening.